we're going to start off with a big egg shape, as if the egg is laying on the ground. This is the chicken body. Big oval. Kelly just commented that she remembers jumping around on the hay bales at my grandma's house. Oh man, we had so many good times with that growing up. Okay, so there's a big egg. Which came first? The egg. And we're going to kind of use this curve. This is going to be the front of our chicken, the chicken breast. We're going to curve it up and back to make that kind of distinctive chicken, front of the chicken shape. And then the neck starts off pretty wide on the chicken and then curves up. So it kind of mimics this curve back here. So it comes from the back of the chicken up into the neck area and then goes into the head. We can kind of just round that out just lightly. Later we'll have a beak and kind of erase some of this. Big basic shapes. I'm gonna sneak over here and add the tail feathers. Chicken tail feathers really vary from one breed to another. In this case, we're just gonna kind of make a shape like this, almost like, maybe if you can imagine like a lemon coming back and the kind of pointy part of the lemon comes up. To make a wing on this chicken, I'm going to just start about even with the back of the neck, and I'm going to make a curve, and then it kind of curves into the big feathers, and we're just going to kind of fade those into the body as they're kind of tucked in, something like that. And most chickens, it's not even that well defined. Usually it just, really blends in, and you might see just more of a shadow there. So if you want to do that, if you want to make it a little more lifelike and just soften that edge, that's a good way to kind of indicate that there's a wing there. Then, of course, our chicken is, we're going to have our chicken in a race. Because Jenna's teacher, Mrs. Verhoof, had chickens in her online instruction, and they were in a race a couple days ago. And so we're going to have the leg that's closest to us, so on this side of the chicken body, on our side of the chicken body, we're going to have kind of a bunch of feathers just kind of sticking out. So almost like scratchy, textury, sort of soft spikes, if you will. So just kind of a close to the middle. In preparation for this, I was actually looking at pictures of chicken skeletons online, and it's kind of interesting. If you look at their bones, their legs start way up. Like their hips are like way up here by the wing, and then they have the leg comes down. It's very, very strange. Now, we're going to, this leg is going to be kind of leaping forward. And so I'm going to have it bend right here, and then come out over here. Something like that. Maybe a little bit thicker where the bend is, where the joint is, and a little bit thinner where it gets close to the feet. And since she is kind of leaping forward, I'm going to have the toes kind of spread out. Little claw, toe. I think what I might do is have one toe kind of overlap front of second toe. And then a third toe kind of peeking out. And then it comes back into kind of, you know, that back spike that chickens have. I'm gonna shorten this toe just a little bit. Okay. They've got kind of scaly skin on their feet. And you can kind of shade in the underside of that foot. That'll make it look like it's kind of coming up, you know, it's facing away from the light. And then little lines that kind of curve around that rounded shape of the leg. In real life, chicken feet usually are a little bit longer. I'm just having them kind of short and stubby just to kind of exaggerate the fatness of this chicken. And then the back leg, so on the other side of the body, the back leg we have, is it still blurry? Shoot. For the back leg, we're going to have it go, you know, back that way at an angle. And then the toes will come down and forward as if the chicken's feet are just kind of, you know, just the toes are pushing off of the ground as the chicken runs, and then a little heel back there. That really helps accentuate that idea of movement. And then wee little claws on each toe. Little kind of scaly details, especially, you know, they're bigger on the top of the feet. And little lines that curve around the legs. I'm looking at this and realizing that one of my feet is a little bit bigger than the other, so I do think I'm going to even that out just a little bit. Okay, now, so we've got legs, we've got a wing, we've got tail feathers. Let's finish the tail feathers and then we'll go into the head. So these feathers are all sticking into the kind of rump area, and they're mostly quite long. So we're going to go about a third of the way up the tail and make some, you know, slightly curved lines that kind of show that kind of break up those feathers just a little bit. Some lines that go up and kind of finish that tail off. So those are the primary, those are the big tail feathers. And then there's some secondary tail feathers that also are going to come up a little bit. And then it goes into little small things. So I'm just adding some little textural things happening. And don't be too persnickety about this. You don't have to count the number of tail feathers that I'm drawing and then copy that. You can do what looks right in your drawing. Okay, now that's a tail feather wing. We're gonna have another wing that maybe just kind of peeks out right here. She's kind of lifting up her wings, I think, a little bit because she's in a hurry. She's in a race, and so she's lifting up her wings a little bit. So that wing is just peeking out the other side. If you don't want to have that, that's fine. It'll still look fine without the wing peeking out. Okay, and she is going to have a face, fortunately. She is not a chicken with her head cut off. I'm going to switch pencils. And for the beak, chicken beaks are kind of unique. Often it's tempting when you're making a bird to just make like a triangle for the beak. And it is somewhat triangle shaped, but it also has a little bit of curve throughout. I'm going to make the top of the beak first, and I'm going to come out and down. Out and down. And maybe I came out too far. Eep, eep, eep. So I'll try to zoom in there. And then just like the kookaburra, the beak doesn't just stop where the face of the chicken is. It continues on and kind of overlaps onto the face a little bit. And I'm gonna make this chicken very happy to be running. And so I'm gonna give her just a little bit of a smile, exaggerate that. The lower part of the beak kind of curves the same way that the upper part does. So it's like kind of turning downward and then back. Something like that. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. I want this chicken to be more of a character and less of a, serious drawing, and so I'm going to give her like maybe a bit of a, like she's smiling, and so maybe her cheek is kind of lifted up, and then her eye goes up from there. So like the cheek, when you smile, you feel your cheeks rise. She's a happy chicken. Happy to be outside enjoying the spring weather. Bunch of her eggs just hatched, and she's got little peepers. Loving life. Of course, we've also got to do the goofy waddle thing. So I'm going to make one. So you kind of have to imagine these a soft pinky red. One kind of shape, almost shaped like a simple ear shape. And then right under her beak, we're going to come out and back. There's another part of her waddle, and then another piece just kind of peeking out. Something like that. All right. Now she does have a little bit of a comb. We're not going to go crazy with it because this isn't a rooster. It's just going to be a tiny little comb. I'm going to start right above where her nostril is. And I'm going to go curve up into that kind of sticky outy part of the comb. And then another one. And another one. And then just kind of settle it down. And then I do think I'm gonna, you guys can color it if you want, or leave it alone. I'm gonna shade mine in a little bit. If you want to try that, you may. In fact, I'm gonna shade in all that kind of red colored stuff that's in here. All right, now we've got most of our chicken drawn. I'm going to start to think about textures now. The feathers all over the chicken head and into her neck are just really short little spiky things. And I want to just suggest that that's what's happening, especially on the edge. So I'm gonna put some little spiky feathers sticking out. And then just here, kind of here and there, just to kind of suggest that those aren't broad feathers, they're just thin little things. And then there are some small kind of U-shaped feathers kind of in here. around here is where the chicken's crop is. That's what kind of grinds their food, if I remember right. And these kind of U shapes just kind of happen here and there, just kind of helps break up that big chicken space and make it come to life. Back here, some soft feathers that kind of balloon up her rump. And I am going to think about light source too. Maybe my light is coming from up above. And so the underside of this chicken is mostly going to be shaded, in shadow. I love shading with my back wing Palomino pencils. These are just such luxurious pencils. They just have such rich values that they're capable of. Just kind of building up the value, thinking about where the light doesn't quite reach. Okay. I'm also going to add a little bit of a shadow underneath her. Shadows give your character a sense of place. Even if you don't have any other environments around your chicken, she feels grounded, like she's not just floating on the page. And it also kind of helps with a sense of direction. In this case, she's running, and I can kind of have that shadow kind of show the way. It's kind of leading in the direction that she's running. Okay.